guys, my name's James.
And I'm Ashley.
We sold our house and we are traveling across the country with our kids.
My name's Goose and this is Maverick. Come join us.
Alright guys, here is an overlook of everything we're installing today. We got two of the 170 watt panels from Zamp Solar, and this is the little junction box that the panels plug directly into. It's such an easy little plug and play system, I love that. And then we have the 30 amp charge controller, also from Zamp Solar. And then we have the 3000 watt Multi Plus from Victron, as well as 3 of the lithium 100 amp hour batteries from Battleborn batteries. And then we monitor all that with this Victron battery monitor, which I am super excited about because this has a Bluetooth setup, so I can connect to it with my phone and see exactly how much power we're pulling in, as well as how much power we're using. I'm really excited about this little thing because one of the worst things about RVing is battery fatigue, worrying about whether or not you're gonna have enough power. And this little device will tell me exactly how much we have left. Okay, Ashley, I apologize for what's about to happen here. We have to apparently break open our brand new painted wall. In fact, I don't know if you guys have even seen our finished remodel video yet. We've decided that this is gonna be the best place for us to put all of our panels because we can run the wires from the roof down right there. But to do so, that means we have to bust open the wall, or at least cut some holes in the wall, so.
Pops apart and you can see.
So the whole wall comes off right there.
This hollow spot right here tells me that there's possibly, no, there is no. It's just a hollow spot. Sometimes they run a vent tube in here.
Oh, okay.
This one they didn't.
That makes it easier, right?
Yeah,
That's perfect. So one of the downsides when they designed this RV, they put the breaker box all the way in the back and the battery compartment is all the way in the front. So we're having to run wires all the way from this guy in the back, which is in the kids' room, up to the front compartment where we're actually moving the batteries from here. I'll go outside and show you. The original batteries were up here in the front, as you guys saw. We made this little makeshift battery bank with just 3 cheap Walmart batteries, but we're moving them into this compartment right there because the lithium batteries do need to be somewhat temperature controlled. They can fluctuate quite a bit with temperature, but you don't want to get them down below freezing or up, I think it's above 115 degrees or something like that. So by putting them in this under bay compartment, which is temperature controlled, we should be good to go. So before we drill a hole up into the ceiling, which is nerve-wracking in and of itself, he's trying to figure out whether the wires run left or right. Is that correct? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Basically, you can see right there, there's a couple of lines running up. We don't want to drill next to them if the wires are going one way or the other.
I want to drill through them, that's the trick.
Exactly. So we're trying to figure out exactly where they go, but here, let me give you a close-up. This is what we're dealing with right here. So hopefully we can just poke a hole up to the ceiling right through that, which will then lead to the solar junction box up there, which then comes down to the charge controller down here, like I said, which will be on that wall. But it is crazy to take this apart and just see a 2x4 wood construction just like a normal house on here. You would think it'd be something different, but it's not, just normal wood.
Because I have this spot to gain access into the cavity, I can come right in over here on the ceiling up top on the roof.
Oh, I
and
see.
just zigzag down in.
That makes sense.
That way it leaves room for you to put a cover on this if you want to. So I'm looking for the hollow part. Oh, pretty good.
Is it just a plywood roof with like a sheet over it, or?
Chipboard.
Chipboard? Okay, yeah, it's just
Same
a particle
thing your
board.
floor's made out of too.
Yeah. Alright guys, it is currently lunchtime and this morning has consisted largely of problem solving. First off, Alan is just getting comfortable with the install, figuring out exactly where everything is in our RV, such as the breaker panels, where we're putting the batteries, etc., and then figuring out length of runs, like how much wire we need. So during lunchtime, there were a couple things we need to do. First, he's going to run over to a local welding shop and actually pick up a couple things that they don't have in stock here at Camping World, because there are some things that you just use so rarely that they don't have in stock, such as the end caps that connect to the battery series of certain size cables. So he has to go pick up some of those. And then I am actually going to run over to Fry's Electronics and get a 30-foot Cat 5 cable, which is like an internet cable. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we're actually going to pre-wire the trailer for a possible upgrade that we're going to do in the future. I can talk to you about that later, but basically there is a certain control panel for the Victron Multi-Plus that we might get in the future, but we don't currently have. But since we're running all these other cables, we might as well run that at the same time. Alright, so we have a plan of attack here for running the wires. Underneath here, Alan pulled this down, and if you guys can see up in there, you probably can't because it's pitch black, but there's a nice open spot that we're going to drill from up top down below so we can run the main cables for going from the panel in the back all the way up to the front compartment there. Okay, cool little trick for you guys, completely unrelated to what we're doing here, but if you're ever doing any work on your RV where you need to have the power completely shut off, then your fridge, even if it's on gas, isn't going to work because it still takes a little bit of power to run that gas. It usually runs off your batteries, but if that's completely disconnected, you can actually take off your outside panel and then unplug your standard 110 plug from there and just plug it into a normal extension cord, which is what we've done here, so that way all of our stuff in our fridge doesn't go bad. While Alan is going to town down here, we're just removing this entire back thing. Oh, jeez. All right, there's a better view for you guys right there. You can see the hot and cold water running back to the rear bathroom. We got our tanks. It's kind of cool to see it all exposed. Okay guys, we have these laid out roughly where they're gonna be on the sides here. Alan was saying that he likes to have them staggered because it makes it easier when you're coming up here for repairs or whatnot. If they're not like side by sides, you can easily get through. And we have plenty of space up there on either the left or right when we decide to put on a third or a fourth panel. So we kind of have some future planning planned out, but we're about ready to hook up the panels to the little junction box thing here and get everything done up top. One of the cool thing about these Zamp solar panels is the way they designed these brackets. They are on a rail system, so you can slide them up and down. That way you can mount them directly onto your cross beams. You can kind of see up here every 16 inches or so, there's a beam, and that's what I believe we're gonna wanna mount it to, right Alan?
Well, the decking's actually so thick, it's fine anyway.
Oh really? Okay, well look at that, I learned something new.
I don't use a self-drilling screw because that'll actually take out some of the wood. I just use standard
Really, that's it?
Yeah, those will hold it down, trust me.
Crazy. And then do you just put DAP over the top of that, or what do you seal it with?
Watch how I do it, you'll see.
Okay, watch the master. Alan's been doing this for 16 years, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of knows what he's doing. So I'm leaving all of the decisions up to him.
So what we're doing is we're gonna clean this area up so that we get good adhesion from the roof sealant. Non-chlorinated brake cleaner will work. You do not want to use any petroleum products on this roof. It will actually damage the roof and it could void your warranty. As you can see,
it was a little dirty.
Yeah, that's what color your roof was.
So the way Zamp designed this junction box and all of the things, it's actually pretty user-friendly just from my experience and my knowledge. All you have to do is strip the end of the wires and it's a quick screw-in connection point, and then you just plug and play basically the solar panels up top. And then other than that, you obviously have to cover all of your holes and everything with either like the self-leveling DAP, or we're using this self-leveling sealant. I love the fact that Zamp is a American-made USA product, and that is from like my hometown. We used to live in Bend, so the fact that it's from Bend, Central Oregon, is just a plus. Super cool.
Put some sealant over each hole, go that way. When I run the screw in, it pulls the sealant in with it.
Oh, nice.
Covers up all of the holes.
So after we got this all screwed in, he's going around on top of all the screws just to double check and make sure that there is no way for water to get in there. Even though it's pretty unlikely with all of the stuff you have under there, you might as well be said better safe than sorry, right?
Yep.
Since the Northwest is our home base, it's probably good to be ready for rain.
That's it from here.
Boom. You know, I like this better. I get to just watch you do it, and then I sit back here and just know that it's done right. So Alan drew out the dimensions of the charge controller from Zamp, so that way we can make a template, or better yet, he can make a template and get it mounted to the wall. So Zamp, if you're watching this, one thing you should add to your little kit that you ship out is a template, so that way we can easily cut the proper hole to the wall. So this cord right here is coming up from the roof. That is going directly to the panels, actually to the junction box and then to the panels. And then this one down here, which we ran out from underneath, is going to go from the charge controller to the junction, or to the actual batteries.
It's telling me the batteries aren't even there.
That's crazy, guys. So it's already getting power from the panels up above, and we're inside a garage, so that's pretty crazy that the panels can generate enough. I know it doesn't take a whole lot, but the fact that it can generate enough power to turn on this little panel when we're inside is insane. Boom, and just like that, we have a charge controller plugged in. All right, that's about how much we'll need right there, I would assume. All right, guys, this is our wire that's coming from the solar panels. And we drilled a hole, or cut a hole rather, in the floor back here to run it up to the back of the breaker box. Okay, so Alan just explained this to me, and before I forget, I'm gonna walk you through exactly how it's working. This cord, which is coming up from the bottom, is actually coming directly from the charge controller, and then it comes up and we put it into this part of the breaker box, which is actually where the converter used to be hooked in, and then this cable comes out and runs all the way up towards the front where the battery compartment is going to be. So we're utilizing this wire, which is already run all the way to the front, so you don't have to, one, buy new wires, but two, it's also done, so it saves on parts and labor. Alright guys, this is the wire that we're using to run from the inverter up front all the way back to the panel box in the back bedroom. It's 10 gauge, 10 AWG wire. It is massive. Look at the size of that. It's bigger than my thumb. That's crazy. But this is what's going to run all the way from the front to the back, and it's going to give us enough, I guess, current or loss of power of some sort, so that way we don't lose any of that power that we're soaking up from the sun and or getting from the batteries. But basically I just trust this guy to tell me that it's correct, and then I know what he's doing since he's been doing this for 16 years. So thanks, Alan. If I was doing this install by myself, guys, this would terrify me right now. There are so many wires and insulation and things hanging down here. This is why having it installed by someone who knows what they're doing is a must for me, because I was gonna try and tackle it by myself, but I'm so glad that I have Camping World helping me out with this, because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 or 9 different wires hanging low. It's crazy. All right. Feeding it up. Got it. And there we go. All the way from the front of the RV to the back. We got our 10 gauge wire. I think that was the hard part.
And we got one more to go.
Oh, seriously? I didn't realize we had to do two. I guess there's a to and from?
Yeah, to and from.
All right, I celebrated too early, guys.
It's okay.
All right, guys. Alan is completely submerged in the underpass. He's got the bracket mounted up there, but now he's trying to hang it on the wall. Oh, look at that. So we got enough wire to run up to the top. Those will be bolted up there. All 3 batteries should run right next to it. Plenty of room up above to put the shunt and all of the fuses and everything. It's coming together. morning, guys. Welcome to day 2 of our solar upgrade. All right, Alan, you want to tell them what we have left for today to do?
What is left for today? Finishing up the wiring on the 110 side of the inverter, and installing the batteries. Put the belly back together because we do have to pull it apart again to run our battery fuel gauge, as I call it, which is the meter which is going to tell how many amps are going in and out, and reserve capacity. I think after all that, it's done.
Just a little bit left.
Yeah, and then testing.
That's definitely important.
Yeah, I gotta make sure everything's working right and performs like it's supposed to.
So I know that seems like we have a lot left, but it honestly feels like we accomplished quite a bit yesterday because we got the panels completely mounted and sealed up top. We ran the wires down to the charge controller. We ran the lines to and from the breaker box in the back for the AC in and out of the inverter, and we figured out the placement, and we got all the parts, and we've got all of that kind of mapped out and laid out, and really getting a plan is half the battle. So I feel like we're getting close, but there is still quite a bit to do today. So we're moving on to connecting the batteries, and what we're doing is, because the Battleborn batteries are slightly different than your normal deep cycle wet cell batteries, you can see the posts aren't like a round circle like you would see in most cars. They're like this weird square thing that you then bolt to. So we picked up these little mounts, little brackets that you then just bolt onto there like that. But before we can do that, we have to first cut the cable obviously to the right size, and we're using, what is this, 4-0 AWG? 4-aught is what it's called, I guess. It's ridiculously huge, look at this. I thought the other cable was thick, this thing is massive. So you can see this just slides right onto the end of it, and then he's gonna heat shrink. You clamp it too, I'm assuming, or how does that work?
Well, we use this crimping tool and a hammer and just go nuts with it. And then it's on there.
That's it?
That's it.
That's hilarious.
Put the heat shrink on, and we're going to shrink that down on there so it looks nice and pretty and protects it.
I feel like it should be more difficult than that.
It's only difficult if you smash a finger.
If you smash or burn a finger. Alright guys, we got the Victron monitor hooked up in there. I'm gonna just have a cluster of control panels over here. And the really cool thing about this monitor is it's actually Bluetooth. So we're currently updating our firmware. I downloaded the app, but I should be able to do all of my monitoring and controlling right from your smartphone, which is amazing. You know I love my tech. So I'm really excited to get this going, because this is what's basically gonna let me monitor and figure out exactly what's going on with their system at all times. Oh, I think we're done. State of charge, 100% supposedly. Voltage 13. We're already getting voltage readings, and we're not even finished hooking everything up back there. Very cool. Those aren't going anywhere. So this is our old battery bank that I made way back when we were in Phoenix, Arizona. And we have disconnected that, and we now have a new line running up into the underbelly back over there. And Alan is currently hooking them up. Do those lines go straight to the batteries or the shunt, or where did those lines up front?
Which one is that?
The ones we just ran from up front, where did those go to? Okay. Oh, right there, okay. Straight to the inverter.
Just using this also for a junction.
Now I think he's just tightening everything up, right? Doesn't that look comfy, guys? Don't you want to do that yourself? The underbelly is all buttoned up. We got all of those screws in there. So we're looking good there. All right, believe it or not, everything is pretty much done. We've tested it out. It works when we've plugged into shore power, the microwave works, the power outlets work, even the fireplace works. So I am really excited now. We're just buttoning things up, getting the last little bits done. Alan is actually constructing a little cabinet to go in here, and it'll fit right around the battery, so we don't have to worry about anything touching any of the exposed copper, the circuit breaker, or the shunt, or anything like that. I know that there are a lot of you out there, like I was before, contemplating doing this build yourself or something similar to this. So I wanted to ask Alan, the professional who's been doing this for 16 years, kind of his advice as far as like what your skill level should be, and if you should try tackling this yourself or going to somebody like Camping World or some other RV installation company to have it done for you, because I know I was originally hoping to be able to do this by myself, but after doing it, I don't think I should have, so.
You do have to be a skill level 10, because there's a lot of mistakes you can make by drilling a hole through wires or any place you don't want to. We know what to look for when we're putting holes for running cabling, like we did for the solar, the remote panel here, and the 110 in the back. You're dealing with low voltage, which is a 12 volt, a lot of current, 300 amps or better, and then your high voltage 120 mains. So definitely a skill level 10 for an install.
Okay guys, hopefully this video was detailed enough. I wanted to show all the little intricacies, the insides and outs, so you could figure out on your own whether or not you wanted to take the plunge and kind of do this install yourself, or get somebody or some place to help you out. I am so glad I got Camping World to help me out, because I probably could have done it, but I don't know how long it would have taken me and how many errors I would have made. So glad that I had someone who knew what they were doing to help me out. But let me know if you have any more questions down below. I'll answer them, and I think I might actually do another video kind of doing a diagram, easy breakdown, and I'm a much shorter, simpler thing. So if that's done, I will link it up right there. If not, be on the lookout for that. It'll be coming out soon. But until next time guys, remember, stay positive, get out there, life is an adventure, so make some memories.